Today in the Small Interview Project, we've got a special guest where I'll be talking to Greg Schmidt, the acting CEO of the ACT Chamber of Commerce. Today in the Small Interview Project, I'm with Greg Schmidt from the ACT Chamber of Commerce and Industry. How are you today, Greg?
Oh, good, thanks, Tony.
Look, thank you very much for taking your time to do this for the Small Interview Project. It's good to get a perspective on some of the service offerings that are there for the business community, so I really appreciate your time in doing this today.
No problem.
You're the acting CEO currently.
I am.
Tell me about the Chamber. What does the Chamber do for business?
The Chamber is an employer association, so we represent employers and businesses, and we provide a range of services to businesses, and we advocate on behalf of businesses to governments and other bodies.
Okay.
And we provide networking opportunities and provide opportunities for our members to interact with other members and with other businesses in order to sell their services.
Okay. And how long have you been associated with the Chamber for?
I've been in the Chamber a bit over 6.5 years.
Okay.
And I primarily work in the workplace relations team.
Oh, excellent.
In that team, we provide advice on workplace relations issues to our members, and that can be a whole range of things, such as what are employee entitlements under awards, or how to interpret particular provisions of the Fair Work Act or modern awards.
Okay.
And we also advise on human resources issues, such as how to go about counselling people for improved performance and so on.
Okay. So that's just one of the services that the Chamber has, so the workplace relations thing, which I know is quite large. What other areas do you guys assist business owners in?
Sure. We put on a range of events for the benefit of members. In fact, last night we held one of our monthly Business After Business events. And the primary purpose of those is to provide a speaker which is normally the host organisation, that can tell other members a bit about the services that the host organisation provides, but also to provide an opportunity for members to interact and network in a social environment. And
you get good turnouts for those?
We do, yes. It's very good.
And how many members currently are there in the Chamber, roughly?
Around about 500 members, and that's a range of business sizes. Our typical member is a small to medium business. We have members that are a small business with no employees. We have a majority of our members probably have 5 to 20 employees, and we have some members that have a very large employee base. Okay, excellent. Look, I know chambers of commerce in various cities and towns and states and things like that sometimes are very proactive. Sometimes they're very old and sort of stuck in their ways and don't do a lot, but the one in Canberra seems to be very proactive and very engaging with the business owners. So is that your main point of difference? How come you guys are so different with other chambers that I've seen around the place? Well, one of our advantages in Canberra is that it is a relatively small community. We're not dealing with a state the size of Victoria or New South Wales. We're able to have very close relationships and direct connection with government ministers. In fact, only recently I met with Andrew Barr along with 2 members of the Chamber Board, and we were able to discuss issues of concern to members and put forward the views of our members directly to the ACT Treasurer. So that's a very valuable opportunity that service that the Chamber is able to provide on behalf of our members. So you've got more access? Absolutely. I noticed Andrew's doing a business budget sort of meeting coming up with the Chamber in a few days or next week. That's right. It's end of next week. So the Treasurer will be delivering his budget on Tuesday afternoon, and then we lock him in a room with 30 of our members on Friday. Well, the good thing is Andrew's also agreed to do this interview, so it will be good to get his perspective as well. So good. It'll be good. Okay, let me go to a bit of a modified version of my standard small interview project questions I have for you. So it's probably more from a perspective of the Chamber's sort of views or your personal views on these items I'm going to ask you about. Why do you think so many people go into business? Well, it's a tremendous opportunity to make your own way in the world. And a lot of people go into business because they have a particular passion to pursue, which is fantastic. And if you can bring that passion to providing a service to others that other people will want to take up, or a product that they want to buy, then that's a fantastic synergy that you can get some value out of doing something that you love and provide benefit to others. Definitely. Excellent. And what do you see? Obviously, you deal with a lot of businesses in the Chamber, like personally as well as sort of networking events and professionally. What do you see as being the biggest challenge out there? Well, at the moment, I'd say that the biggest challenge is lack of confidence in the future.
Yep.
And we've had our members report to us that ever since the federal election was announced,
yes,
people have stopped buying in retail, and hospitality has gone into a slump.
Yep.
Simply because people are uncertain about the future.
Sure.
And there's also government spending cuts,
Yep.
which are affecting businesses and are certainly affecting our members.
So just a whole degree of uncertainty, do you think? Is that sort of it?
That's a really big factor.
Yeah.
And both the major parties have said that they do intend to cut back in the public sector.
Yep.
And while that our members, the chamber members, aren't public sector, they're certainly affected by the spending of the public sector agencies.
And Canberra seems to go through a lot more cycles than some other cities as well, because we've got the federal sort of impact of the election, and we've had the state elections, and it just always seems to be a vicious cycle. There's always something coming up that's impacting on confidence and impacting on those. So how do we break that cycle?
Well, we're encouraging the ACT government in particular to look at ways to improve the viability of businesses, and look at ways of reducing the bureaucracy and red tape on business.
Okay.
Now, I was encouraged by Tony Abbott's budget reply a couple of weeks ago, because he actually addressed that issue and said a future Liberal government would specifically look at reducing red tape that affected business. So you can't always rely on those sort of promises translating into reality, but it's at least encouraging that.
Absolutely. They're saying the right things. Yeah. Okay. Excellent. How do you advise business owners who, especially a new business owner who comes here, as far as working on their business versus in the business, because we get very trapped in just the doing rather than the strategic?
Absolutely. And you do need to draw that line and make sure that you have an eye on the future, and the business owner does look to looking after the strategic direction of the business.
Right.
It's very easy and a real trap to get involved in the day-to-day running and forget to take a step back and look at the future. But it's a very important aspect.
And how would the chamber sort of assist? If I'm a new business, how would the chamber help me in that context?
Well, we provide advice to our members, but more importantly, we have members in our membership base that offer that sort of strategic direction service. So there's certainly businesses that can advise other businesses, and one important aspect of the chamber is we can connect those businesses. And
so that's where the networking events come into play. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Cool. And what advice would you have in general for a new business owner? Obviously, apart from joining the chamber, of course.
Well, absolutely. Well, I'd advise a new business owner to do their homework and make sure that they're going to develop a product or a service that will be attractive to other people.
Yep.
Focus on running their business, and you need to go into it wholeheartedly. But don't try to do everything that's associated with running the business, and rely on the services that are on offer. There's a whole range of advice, some of which is free, some of which you pay for, and there's businesses that provide services to other businesses. So a new business owner doesn't need to be an accountant. They don't need to be a payroll expert. They don't need to be a human resources expert.
Absolutely.
Because all that expertise is available out there.
Yeah, definitely. They should just focus on the key area that they're the expert at for their business. Yeah, absolutely. No, great advice. Look, one final question for you, Greg, is the Chamber's associated itself with the Too Big to Ignore campaign. Can you tell me a little bit about that and sort of how that all works? Yeah,
the Too Big to Ignore campaign is a campaign that's specifically linked to the federal election campaign.
Yep.
And the purpose of the Too Big to Ignore campaign is to provide a voice for small businesses.
Okay.
Now, there's in Australia, there's around 2 million small businesses, and they employ around 7,000 Australian workers. Small businesses, as an individual organisation, may feel that they find it difficult to make their voice heard with the federal government and the federal parties.
Yes.
But if we join together collectively, it is a very powerful voice. So as of last night, there was over 17,000 people had joined the campaign and to make their voices heard.
Is that just through the social media campaign side?
Yes, Yep. So there is a website, which is I won't tell you the name because I get it wrong, but any search engine will. If you type in
Too Big to Ignore,
you'll find it.
Absolutely.
And we'd certainly encourage small business owners to join that campaign.
Okay, and so the chamber's just affiliated itself. I think it's an Australian chamber initiative as well, isn't it?
That's right. The that's driven by the Australian Chamber of Commerce and Industry,
Yep.
but every state and territory chamber has joined in, and so we're very happy to be a part of that campaign.
Okay, excellent. And one more question? So I lied before. What's next for the chamber? Like, what's the exciting news happening in the chamber in the next sort of 12 or 18 months that'll help businesses?
Sure. Look, we're very excited to announce the appointment of a new Chief Executive Officer for the Chamber. Yep. That's Andrew Blythe,
yes.
and he'll be joining the Chamber on the 1st of July.
Okay.
Now, Andrew's got a long career in running his own small business. He's also worked in very senior policy positions,
sure.
So he has good connections with government. He knows what it's like to run a small business. And we're very much looking forward to having Andrew join the Chamber as a new Chief Executive.
And will there be any directional change with that, as far as you know, or too early to tell?
A bit too early to tell. We certainly expect that Andrew will bring fresh ideas to the Chamber.
Sure.
He'll certainly be out there consulting with our members and the small business community.
Okay.
So yes, I am expecting that Andrew will bring some changes and all to the good for the small business community.
All right, Greg, look, thank you very much for your time. As a member of the Chamber, I obviously encourage people to join as well, because there's plenty of resources there, and I'm probably one that underutilises them, but it's one of those things. It's there, there's someone to help you if you need the help, so it's a great resource. So.
That's a very good point you just made, Tony, that we do have a lot of members that don't utilise the full service of the Chamber, and we encourage people to come on board and then use our services.
Yeah. Do you think that's an educational gap, like that people don't know the full extent of what you offer? Because look, a small business owner is busy, so they don't always read everything that gets sent out to them as much as we like to think they read all their emails that we send, but the reality is they don't.
I think that's absolutely it.
Yeah. Is that so? It's educational, do you think? So that's maybe something that needs to be looked at or driven a little bit differently, or?
Yes, and we do put out a regular newsletter by email to our members. But we do try to encourage our members to interact with the Chamber in a range of ways. We want people to come along to our business after business events, and we have a range of other events as well.
Yeah. Okay.
But we certainly encourage our members to get on the phone and talk to us.
You can lead a horse to water. Okay, great. Well, thanks very much for some very insightful answers today.
Thank you, Tony.
Cheers.